at. We're from southern Israel looking into Gaza as General Bill Enyart joins us right now with his analysis of the situation, which, as you can see, General, is quite fluid. This is another phase of this war. Rockets are coming out of Gaza towards Israel, and certainly the Israeli ground operations are underway. How should we watch this? How will we measure success or lack of success for the Israelis in what, as Robert rightly said, the authorities, everybody questioned, expects to be a long war that's just beginning?
Well, that's the $64 question, isn't it, Connell? The Israelis are stating that they've had about 6,000 rockets launched against them since the start of this war. So you see that Israel is still being attacked by Hamas. I think that success for Israel would be considered to be if they can put a stop to these rocket attacks. That is, if they can take enough territory to be able to prevent Hamas from launching them. I think the Israelis are saying they want to eliminate 10,000 Hamas fighters and leaders. Whether they can achieve that goal or not is open to question. The Hamas fighters blend right into the civilian population. They don't wear uniforms by and large. They don't drive Jeeps or Humvees or tanks. You saw what the terrorists were dressed like when they went into Egypt, and if you took the guns away and took the bulletproof vests off, you wouldn't be able to tell them from any other civilian walking down the street. So I think that Israel militarily can certainly take over the territory. The question is, what do they do once they've done that?
Right, the day after plan, right? Is there one, do you think? I mean, we haven't heard it, not that we would, but it seems like U.S. officials have been pushing the Israelis to have a plan for the day after. And what should it be?
Well, we certainly haven't heard Netanyahu come up with a plan. I spoke with a senior Israeli defense official the other day who admitted that there really is not a plan for the governance of Gaza after this is over. And I think that's been the problem all along. Nobody's had a plan for how to govern these folks. There was one election when Hamas took power, and that was nearly 2 decades ago. And there haven't been any elections since. It's not even a pretense of being a democracy. So the people of Gaza really have no voice in their governance.
To just distinguish what we're looking at now while General Enyart speaks on the screen to his to the left there, this is from earlier this evening, looking in from southern Israel into Gaza, or just moments ago when Robert Sherman was on, we were watching the night sky light up, and this is how it essentially looked. And it's still quite active, but not as much as it is there. And we'll continue to watch the live pictures as well, because, General, the ground war is underway. You could characterize it as an all-out assault. Will it get stronger? There are Israeli troops now inside of Gaza, and the question has come up over and over again. I wonder how you answer it, because it came up at the White House briefing again about how the Israelis are handling this, and should they be following the so-called rules of war, rules of armed conflict? And John Kirby is a retired admiral, is a National Security Council spokesperson, basically said he thinks that they're making every effort they can to avoid civilian casualties. Netanyahu, he was pressed on it, said they're doing everything they can, but they're not going to stop. No ceasefire. What about that question about, as you say, the use of human shields? We understand it, but the idea of what type of burden is on the Israelis to avoid civilian casualties, and are they meeting that so far in your view?
Well, certainly it's incumbent on every nation state to follow the law of war. And if they don't, then the military leaders, the political leaders can be tried and punished for that, as we have actually seen take place with some of the Serbian generals and leaders who didn't follow the laws of war, as well as certain African leaders. The problem, of course, is complicated by the fact that terrorists and terror groups don't follow the law of war and have no compunction about hiding amongst civilians, putting tunnels under hospitals and schools, and so on. So the Israeli problem is really compounded by the fact that this is a terror group they're fighting.
Now, we dealt with that, though, General, didn't we? And I think Kirby talked about this with ISIS and other groups that we've had, we being the United States. So we've had to navigate that. I know civilians were killed in those casualties as well, but we did our best to navigate it and get around it or do the best we can to limit it, didn't we? And is Israel doing the same thing, is I guess what I'm asking.
Well, I'm certainly not on the ground, and I don't see it. I believe that they are.
Yep.
They have to continue to exist in this world, and so they're going to do everything they can to follow the law of war, so that should they be attacked by nation states, those nation states would obey the law of war. But it's very, very extraordinarily difficult when you're fighting under these conditions.
Yes.
To ensure that every kill is a clean kill.
Final quick comment. How long would you, and I know there's no way to really give an estimate on this, I don't think, but how long do you think this will last now, given everything we know and how it's begun?
Well, who would have predicted that Afghanistan would last 20 years?
Right.
Frankly, there is absolutely no way to tell. It's going to depend on what the Israelis have in mind as their final objective, how quickly they can achieve it. Were I the Israelis, I'd want this to be over quickly. I'd want to get in, get the job done, and get out, because otherwise the propaganda that's going to come out of this is going to be really adverse to the Israelis in the long run. So the quicker, the better.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.